Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to my channel. In this video I'll show you the making of a very beautiful cold shoulder ruffle top for a 5-year girl, and you can make it for any age. It looks very nice. So I'm using this leftover fabric for this top, but the total amount of fabric you need is 1 meter. My fabric is 60 inches wide and it is 22 inches long, and I'll use a 16-inch square piece apart from this fabric, right? So this is the total amount of fabric I'm using. Let's get started. First of all, we'll mark for the width of our top. So this is the folded fabric. Our hip measurement is 28 inches and half of our hip is 14 inches. And including 2 inches seam allowance, we normally take 16 inch, right, for our shirt. But we'll make A-line top, so we increase 4 inches more. So on adding 4 inches, we get 20 inch, right? So the width of our top would be 20 inches. So we'll take 20 inches wide fabric on fold. Means 20 inches for the front part and 20 for the back part. It's 40 inches wide in total. So we'll cut from here. So this is the fabric for our basic top. Now we'll mark for the length of our top. I'm taking it 2 to 3 inches down the hip measurement, so it is 17 inches, and including seam allowance, we'll cut at 18 inches. So first mark here at 18 inches and then cut from this point. So our top is 18 inches long including seam allowance. Now fold the fabric once and again, and now we'll mark for the basic top pattern. So first of all, we'll mark for half of shoulder, and I'm marking at 5.5 inches. Now from this point, we'll mark for half of armhole round, and I'm marking at 6 inches. Extend these 2 points. Now at this point, we'll mark for the chest. We mark half of our chest, so it is 6.5 inches. From 10 inches down the shoulder point, we'll mark for the waist. So make a line here, and at this line, we'll mark for the waist measurement. We mark 1/4 of the waist, and that is 6 inches. And now join this point to the bottom corner here, so it will be A-line shape of our top. The bottom of the top won't be straight, so we'll give a slight curve at the bottom like this. And this is mark for the stitch line, so we'll mark for the cutting, keeping 1 inch margin. From this cutting mark, we'll draw a shape for back armhole first, and then for front armhole a bit deeper. And now for the neck width, I'm taking 3.5 inches. This neck is wider than normal, and the depth would be less than normal. I'm marking at 2 inches. So it would be a boat neck shape. If you take normal measurements, 2.5 inches wide and 2.5 inches long neck, then you better make a slit at the center back as well for the neck to go in, right? But using this measurement, I don't need a slit at the center back. Now we cut at the neckline and then the back armhole. And then the side, keeping 1 inch seam allowance, and the bottom. Now we'll separate the back part. And cut the front armhole. So the cutting of our basic top is done. This is the front part and the back part. And now we'll attach lining to this, but up to this point. It is 4 inches down the shoulder, right? So we will cut the lining at least 3 inches down the shoulder, 1 inch for seam allowance. So I have cut the lining in the same pattern, but it is 3 inches less at the top. So you can see here. Now on the right side of our top, we'll place the lining and stitch at the bottom and hem the top of the lining only. So we'll fold it twice and stitch here. So I've hemmed the top of the lining and stitched both the lining and the top at the bottom. Give a few notches and turn the lining on the wrong side. So the bottom is finished. Now we'll stitch the lining and the main top at the sides and the top where lining ends, right? So I've pinned the lining in place, as you can see here. Now it is easy to stitch at the side and the top of the lining. So I've stitched at the sides and I made a stitch line at the top of the lining as well. Now it is one piece. I got the back part ready in the same way. So this is the back part. Now we'll join the right sides of the front and the back part and stitch at one shoulder. So I've stitched at one shoulder only. Now we'll finish the neckline. Now it is easy to finish the neckline because only one shoulder is stitched, right? So I've cut lining pieces in the same shape as the neckline and joined at one shoulder as well. Now we'll place it on the right side of the top and stitch at the neckline. So I've stitched at the neckline on the right side, then turned it on the wrong side and hand stitched it. So as you can see, neckline is finished. Now we'll stitch the other shoulder as well, and we'll finish the armhole in the same way as we did the neckline, right? And now it's time to attach the frill in place. So first of all, we'll measure the distance of the lining from the shoulder. It is 4 inches down the shoulder and 2 inches down the neckline. So we'll mark 1.5 inches above the lining on both sides at the armhole. And now we'll make a very slight curve shape starting from one point to the other we just marked. We'll attach the frill at this line. So we'll measure the length of this line. It is 10 inches. Yes, it's 10 inches. And the frill should be at least 2.5 inches outside the armhole. So it is 5 inches in total, and adding 10 inches to it, we get 15 inches. So the frill should be 15 inches long at the front and the back as well. So the full circle we get should be 30 inches in circumference, right? The circumference of our circle is 30 inches. We divide the circumference, that is 30 inches, by 6.25 to get the radius, means 1/4, and it is 4.8. So we take 1 or 2 points less than the value we get. So we take 4.5 inches as our radius. So 4.5 inches is the 1/4 of our circle. Adding the full length to this 4.5, we get 9.5 because we want 5 inches long frill. We fold the fabric at this point. So we should have 19 inches long and 19 inches wide fabric. So I have almost 19 inches long and more than 19 inches long fabric. So fold the fabric twice. This is the 1/4 part of our circle we have. So we'll mark 1/4 of the circle, and that is 4.5. So we'll mark 4.5 from that corner. We folded the fabric twice, so we are having 1/4 of the fabric in front of us, right? That's why we found 1/4 of the circle. So we marked 4.5 because the full circle was 30 inches in circumference, right? Now from this point we'll mark for the full length, and the full length we want for the frill is 5 inches. Adding 5 to the 4.5 we just marked, we get 9.5. So we'll mark 9.5 from that corner. Now we'll cut at these two lines. So this is the circle we got. Now we'll cut another circle in the same way, but 3.5 inches long. So the rest of the method would be same, only the length of the frill would be 3.5 inches. So when we'll cut the circle, we'll take the length as 3.5 inches. The 1/4 of the circle would be same, that is 4.5. So I've marked at 4.5 inches, as you can see on the folded fabric. And the full length of the circle we need is 3.5. So we'll add 3.5 to the 4.5 and we get 8 inches. So we marked at 8 inches from the corner. Now we'll cut at this line too, and this is the shorter frill. So we have cut both the frills. Now we'll open the bigger one or the longer one and place the shorter one on it, but this is the wrong side, right? The wrong side of both the frills are facing us. So it's the wrong side of the shorter and the longer frill. We'll stitch here. Before stitching, I've pinned the fabrics in place, and now we'll stitch it. So I've stitched the frills in place. Now give a few notches here and turn the shorter frill to the right side. So simply we'll fold it to the right side. This is the longer frill. The shorter frill should be above the longer frill here. So the top part is finished and the margin is here inside, right? So it is not visible. And now I'll use zigzag stitch on my machine to hem the bottom of both the frills, so it will just look like picot. So I have hemmed the bottom, as you can see here. It's looking like this. It's looking very nice. The top is finished. Now our frill is ready. We'll simply top stitch it on our top. So this is the line we marked on our top. For the frill to be attached, we'll mark another line on the back part as well in the same way. And we'll simply top stitch our frill on this top, on this line. So we'll place the frill here and pin it. So I've pinned the frill on this line we marked and top stitch it. I've top stitched it on the front part. Now in the same way we'll stitch it on the other part, but before that, on the back part, but before that we'll measure the length of the frill which will be unstitched, which won't be attached to the top. So it should be 5 inches, 2.5 inches for the front and 2.5 for the back, right? So simply measure it and mark at 5 inches. We'll do the same on the other side. Starting from the stitched end, we'll mark at 5 inches. So I've marked at 5 inches here. Now place this mark on the top. So join this mark and this mark to the top marks. That is 1.5 inches above the lining. So pin here and pin this mark on the top here. And stitch the frill on the line we marked. But make sure it should be 5 inches at the shoulders, right? Here. So the front and the back part of the frill is attached to the top and it is free at the shoulders. Make sure that it is 5 inches. If you don't want to top stitch the frill, you can also flip the shorter frill and stitch on the margin, right? So you can stitch in between the longer and the shorter frill, right? If you flip the shorter frill, you can stitch over there. So this is optional, but I top stitched it. The stitch line is visible on my frill. So it's up to you. And now we'll join the right sides of the front and the back part and stitch the sides. So I have stitched the sides and our top is ready. It's looking like this. Very nice and very cute. Must try it for your kids. And it can be made for any age. It is suitable for all ages. It looks very nice. So this is the final look of the dress. I hope you like the video. If you do, thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed yet, and press the bell icon so you will get notification on every new upload. And thank you so much for watching, and Allah Hafiz till the next video.